Hello, good day. I hope you are all well wherever you are seeing me or hearing me from. I greet you. My name is Vimbai Chiwuswa. I'm a life coach and I do operate here on Facebook or online social media, and I've got an office here in Blackpool as well. Okay, so today our session is episode 36, where we are talking voices of successful people. Right, and making money, and our topic today is money is in the soil, and we'll be talking about agricultural products and what we can do with the land that we have. All right, or the land that we have borrowed, it doesn't matter, but what we can do with the land. And I'm hoping that today more people who are working on the ground will be joining me. I did send some adverts almost on the old platforms that I could get my hands on. So I hope we will have real input from people who are doing the job day in, day out. Okay. So one announcement for today. We were supposed to do the first draw, the raffle draw for the project that I'm doing, the 50-50 raffle. Unfortunately, we won't be able to draw it today as promised, because our sales are really, really bad. So that with what we have, it won't be even worth drawing anything. So we've decided to postpone. At least we try one more month up to end of November to see what the sales will be like. But whichever the case, we hopefully by next by the 30th, I think Saturday the 30th. Of November, that we'll be able to do our first draw. I'm really, really sorry for all the inconveniences caused. And yeah, I was expecting that, we'll be like, oh yeah, somebody's winning and we are getting something for our projects. But unfortunately, it didn't work out as we hoped. So that's why you don't see Emmanuel here with me. You wanted to mix it, but we will be trying in the end of the next month. All right, so that will be the first announcement for today. Okay, so back to our topic. When we say money is in the soil, like I said, we are saying traditionally, we as African people, we used to work on our lands that was there. If you didn't have land, you worked on somebody else's land, and people got projects and they sold them, and all that. But with coming of the white men onto our land, those traditions kind of changed, because we were taught now it's we have to go to school, we have to learn how to work in the factories, and agriculture is not really something that we can work on, but we have to get the white man knowledge. Of course, on one side, it's good that now we can talk, we can do what we are doing now. We are living our different kinds of jobs, but we lost something that mattered. We lost our touch to the land. We lost that to say, what, even if you didn't really go to school big time, but if you learned how to tilt the land, if you learned to use that land that we had, you could still make a life. All right, so we're saying this session today, to say money is on the ground, is an attempt to say let's refocus, looking back in Africa, looking back in different African countries. I won't generalize for everybody in Africa, but for most African countries, we have land that is idle. We have people who've got now access to the land, but who are not sure where to start. Of course, I know there is an aspect of resources, if to start farming, I need to buy seeds and all that. I need to do this, I need to do this. There are so many excuses and so many reasons why people don't get started. So this session was an attempt for us as African people to say, guys, let's rethink. If we have land, if we have access to a corner of a land, what can we do? What products can we make that we can sell and start from there, getting ourselves a job, instead of waiting for somebody to come and employ us? And as we know, almost everywhere in Africa, the unemployment rates are too high, but people are sitting on the land. What can be done? That is the idea for today. All right, I will try and post some pictures later on with some prizes right, of what, or like if I go to the shops later on, I will take some some products and come and show you. You know, if you look at dried foods, let's say sun-dried tomatoes from Tunisia, I'll be honest with you, here in the UK or in Germany where I lived, I would think 3-4 times whether I should pick them. And I'm talking of just 100 grams or like 200 grams. I would really start thinking, can I afford those? But looking at people there down Africa, like, they're just tomatoes. Yeah. So who would go and buy dried tomatoes? We wouldn't think of doing that. But that is money this side. You know, look at different products and try to say, okay, if those who know guavas, right, guavas, you know, like in Zimbabwe we have guavas. If I see a guava here in the UK, my saliva will be dribbling. And I'm thinking, oh, delicious. But I will think before I pick it up and put it in my basket, because the price of that guava is something else. I won't even start talking about the taste. It won't be the taste like the guavas that I know, that I grew up eating, right? But the thing is, because it's an exported product, it will be very expensive. Yeah. So, you know, or those who know, like, there are some natural fruits, wild berries, wild different fruits that you go out there and pick them up, package them nicely. When they get here, you cannot even think of buying them because the price will kill you, right? So that's what I'm saying, like, you know, there are different products that we have, or things that we can do with the land, right? That we can say, like, okay, this is what we have that we have put our hands on. Let's make use of it to our own advantages. Because like I said, like this thing of waiting that somebody will come and employ me, we have to kind of remove it from our heads, because it's not everyone who is getting that job and just sitting there and trying to find another job. The year will go, 1 year will go by, another year will go by. Well, at least you're still trying to find somebody to employ you. You're still trying. It's not like we are not aware that people try. We've been there before as well. So we know that it's sometimes really difficult. But that's where we are saying, like, let's look at alternatives to say, what can we do ourselves? All right. So the first point will be land. We need somewhere to start working. Okay. So where are we getting the land from? You know, I don't know about other countries, but I'll talk about Zimbabwe. How many people of us who are living in the cities, right, we have left our homesteads to say, no, I can't stay in the homesteads, I have to go and live in the towns. And we have left our homesteads desolate, with nobody who's living there, with grounds uncultivated. How many of us? We are in town, we are trying to find jobs, but we have landed back home that nobody is working on. How many of us? That's the starting point to say, like, okay, we want land. How many of us have got the grandparents' land on the ground, like in the villages, that nobody's using? That could be a starting point to say, okay, can we get access to that? Of course, if there are big families, it's a matter of negotiating in the family to see if one can be granted access to that land and go and try and use it. That would be the first one. And the second point will be, if you yourself have bought land and you went to live in town and you know, like you have two homes, like in Zimbabwe, most people have got two homes. You've got the village house, and then you've got the town one. If there is nothing going on for you in the city, where you are maybe even renting out or paying so much bills, why not try to relocate and go and live on the ground? You know, like there's so much you can do. I know you will miss out on the electricity, but at the moment there is no electricity anyway, so it won't be much of a difference. Sorry, I'm laughing, but it's not a laughing matter. Okay. People are using coal in the cities to manage and paying bills, but maybe in the village you won't have to pay for the water. You might have to walk to go and fetch some water for yourself. Or if you have a bowl, then you're okay. Or you have a well on your ground, then you're all right. You can try with that. Okay, so like I said, you just try with what you have. Either like if you have homesteads at the home, go and use that. If there isn't that, like say you are already in town, there are some people who no longer have like the villages, the way they can go back to. Okay, if you can buy a piece of land, then do that. Right? If you can't buy, find people where you can rent out. There are people who have got farms, who are living abroad, and they've got their stands there, and they would love somebody to take care of that. So why don't you try and find where you can rent out land? Right. While you're renting it out, you will still go back to say, like, what will you do with it? Okay, so that's another way of acquiring land, that you rent it out. Okay. And then the other thing is, if you are like in the cities, right, there is some homes, they don't have much ground, but there are other ways of working in the cities. I've seen it with different people doing it, where you can get like those changani bags, or there is another stronger version of the changani bags, or ordinary sacks, like those are the poly what, the plastic one, that we use to like when you're buying grains, there are there's a thicker version of that. You can get those, right? Put them, like line them up in your backyard and use that as a starting point. Okay, we will still talk about what you will plant in that, but you are talking of like how can you use land? And you can take big buckets, that if you have buckets, you can get buckets, fill them with sand. Oh no, not sand, fill them with good soil, right? And you fill them with good soil. That's another way of utilize the little piece of land that you've got, to say, okay, you can get sacks, you can get bags, you can get bags, you can get buckets. Okay, and we're talking like you've got just a small corner of your backyard there where you can start. That is if you are doing like this kind of farming. All right, so you have like somewhere to get started with. And when we talk agriculture, we have different way, like different sources of what we say, like, okay, there's this, there's that, right? There is the big commercial farming, where you have like really hectares and hectares and hectares of land, and you're doing, all those big farming. Like for Zimbabwe, we're talking of big farming, where you're farming cotton, where you're farming your tobacco, where you're farming your coffee, your peanuts, or you have like all sorts of different fruits, right? And you have hectares and hectares of that. That's one way. Or you have like, in your big hectares there, you have like heads and heads of cattle, or like you've got your goats, your sheep, you name it. That's one way of doing it. And then there is a different way. We are talking like just simple, like not simple is the wrong word for that. General people who are not being big scale, where you can say, like you remember, I always say, while you are doing something for yourself, start small, start where you are, start with the resources that you have. That's where you hear I'm talking about. If you have a backyard, use buckets. I'll give you an example. When I was going, like, there's a time when I stayed in Bloe with my siblings, and we were taught to say, like, if you have ground, you don't have to go and buy. If you have you like a piece of area where you can use it to do gardening. Do your gardening. You don't go and buy vegetables. That's what we were taught. And you know what? I have vegetables here in the UK where I am outside. I have my vegetables. Okay? Crazy as it is, I have my murio outside there. I have my carrots. When the time is right, I'll have my carrots, my onions, because I was taught to do that as a small girl, and it has followed me all the way. I'm not selling, but I'm still doing it. So what I'm saying is, when I was living in Blueyo, in town, we moved on a place where, like, it was just a normal house, and it was my sister and myself. So, like, you know what, we need to start our gardening. When we started digging, the boys in the neighborhood were laughing, like, what are these two girls doing? We actually got our uncle traveling to the village to bring us 4 sacks of big sack, like the 50 kgs of manure. We put them in the garden, and the neighbors were looking and they were laughing. They were laughing like, what are these two doing? Right. But it was only until, we had those green murios, beautiful. Now we started having people like, because we didn't have the jurao, it was just like normal fence. Everybody who was passing by, especially the market ladies, they used to stop almost every day and say, can you sell us your murios? Can you sell us your tomatoes? Like, no, they are not even yet green, like ripe. They are still coming. Like, no, you know what? Just sell them. We will put them in our house. They will ripe there. But their idea was, if we leave these, when we come tomorrow, somebody will come and buy them. You see, but like I'm saying, it was just for us to eat. We were not selling. Here and there, if it was really too much, then we would just like sell a little bit. But what I'm saying is, wherever you are, if you can put your hands on a piece of land, start with that. We like I said, like my example, we had our murios on one corner. Like murio is just these green vegetables like hovo or wrap. Like I think there's something similar here in the UK. Okay, so like we had our onions, we had our tomatoes, and we made sure we didn't have to buy that because we had it in our garden. So if you are not going to do like real big selling, then at least you have something to feed yourself, your family with. Okay, but then if you do, like I was saying, like you have like your potatoes. I've seen people who are putting like who live like more than 50, 60, 70, depending with the land, with how much space they have in their backyards, and they're planting potatoes, bags of potatoes, like real in boxes. Yeah, that's another thing I forgot about, like making wooden boxes. You can make wooden boxes as well in your backyard, in the village or in town, wherever you are, if you don't have land. Much land. So you put boxes as well. That's works. Potatoes, the harvest I've seen from just one box or one bag. You go out there and you sell them and you're telling them this is organic. And because it's organic, you're selling it like at a good price. All right. And sometimes if your products are really good, you don't have to go outside to go and sell them. They will come to you to buy. Right, so that's another way. So we're saying like if you are looking at whatever portion of land you can put your hands on, right? Think of if you have like now these days people are putting like this the slabs on the concrete blocks on their floors. Okay, for some people that is good. Then they don't have to weed the yards. Then put your boxes there. Put your big, like I said, big giant. Sacks, and then plant whatever you want to plant, and things will grow. You just have to yes, it's tiring, but you do get something out of it. So that's first part where we are talking about the land, like to say where would you start. All right, and then from the land we start looking at I mentioned a bit of what else can be done. Of late there is the like general, like you don't need, like you're not using a special shade. You're just planting your plants outside, right? And then you let nature take care of them. Or at least you are doing like a farmer. You are watering, you're digging, you're doing all that, and doing your care as much as you can. And the sun will help you, and the rains will help you as well. Or you will do its part. Okay, so that's one way. Like you're just normal farming outside and do what you can. All right, so that's this first part. Then we are looking at still on the plant side, right? To say you can do the vegetable side, right? Where you are planting. My iPad is gone. Okay, there are so many vegetables. For those in Zimbabwe, now you can even sell like your wrap in shops like TM, in OK. You can even, if you have like the pumpkin leaves, why not, if you have like pumpkins, why not try and go and sell bora to them? Like the pumpkin leaves in Zimbabwe, we call that bora. Why don't you go and try and sell them? Like, guys, this is it needs to be eaten fresh, but give it a try. and see if they will not take it. So whatever product that you have produced, try and see if you can get local buyers. Try and see if you can get in your area so that you don't have to go really far, to see if you can get work with the local shops to come and sell them for you, and then you give them a little percentage from that. You know, when I was growing up, I used to see like that in one of the local shops, people used to, like, the local people, of course, they to go and negotiate their deals. They would go and talk to there was a butchery, right? In the butchery, they would go and talk to the owners of the butchery to say, you know what, you are selling your meat, but I have my tomatoes there and I have my murios. Can I just put my dish there? It's just like a little, like maybe then it was like maybe 50p for a bundle. Yeah, somebody will come, they buy their meat, and they will see the nice vegetables there. I'm like, oh, I'll get that one as well. At the end of the day, the shop owner gets a little bit, and the owner of the vegetables will come and collect their money. But you have to be able to go and talk to those with their butcheries to say, guys, can I do this deal with you? So, you know, like, there is that option as well to say, like, in your area, what opportunities are there? What can you use? Or can you sell them by your, by your gate? Or can you take them, like, bundle them up in the morning and you go to the marketplace, let them get like as big bundles, like you become the wholesaler, so to say. It's less money than in smaller bundles, but it's quicker. It will also depend with what is it, where in this chain do you want to be? Are you going to be the kind of the wholesaler, or are you going to be the one who's like, I know, like the selling like to the single customers? So that's what you need to figure out as well. Okay, to say whatever I am selling, before I can go and order somewhere else, can I not produce it myself and sell it also myself? That way you are not giving somebody else your money, you are doing it yourself. But like I said, it also depends with the land that you have. We are still talking on vegetables. When we talk of vegetables, we are talking of normal onions. There's white onions, there's red onions. You know, I was just reading now here online, somebody was saying she just started, like, talking of in the backyard. It has taken like 6 months to start seeing real good results. They just decided to plant red onions. And from those red onions, they didn't even have to put anything else, like red onions, and put manure. And now they are selling red onions, and they are so happy with their harvest, right? And it's like, you know what? I just thought, like, let me try it, because I wasn't working, like, nothing much was going on. I just like, let me give it a try and see what happens. It's an experiment that has paid out. Just like I said earlier on, we once did that in my own house, like, in the garden. Okay, so, like, so we're talking of carrots, we are talking of butternut, we are talking of squash, we are talking of, like I said, the spinach. And by the way, I've come to learn that there is so many types of spinach. So you just look at what spinach will grow in your area, right? There is this vegetable that I never used to like, tunga. It's a bitter kind of vegetables. If you have it here in the UK and you just need to say, I'm selling tunga, or I have tunga, come and get, people will break their legs rushing to come and get some. Right. So if you have that, why not sell it? If you can plant that. And, so that's where you're talking about, okay, on the different vegetables. And remember, different countries have got different vegetables. Okay, I just mentioned a few. What of tomatoes? We have tomatoes. We have, like, for me, cooking without tomatoes is something else. When I'm cooking, I need my tomatoes in my soup. So tomatoes is another thing that you say, it's a simple vegetable that you should have it to be easy for you to get to sell. And then you look around, what else under vegetables can you sell? And then look at it, like, in your area. And another thing, what you can do is, if your own area is not selling, the kind of vegetables, go and look in those poshy shops. Go and look in the poshy shops. What do they have? What vegetables are they selling? And talk to them. Like, because you live locally, if you would plant your plants, good quality, would they buy them from you? Because one, they are cutting down on their transportation going to get them from your supply. And because they've got a short life, most vegetables have got a short life, they are now getting them locally. Can that not be a good deal for you? But you have to check and see what works. Okay. So like I said, on vegetables, I just mentioned just a few, but the list is really long. On vegetables, there are all sorts of beans, peas, there are all sorts of cabbages. There's red cabbage, there's Chinese cabbage, there is white cabbage. Look at, there is lettuce, there is, these days there is in the how do they call that, Rosman salad. There's the tererina. We used to call it tererina when I was going, like that salad that looks like with frills. Yeah, it's in green, it's in red. So like check your market and see what sells in where you are. Right. Like I said, you can try the local shops where everybody goes and buy, and then you can also try the poshy shops where they will have extra poshy things, poshy vegetables. And then if they will take your poshy vegetables and you produce poshy vegetables and you sell them. Beetroots, you can produce beetroots as well. Just see that, there are all sorts of different ones. Then the next, like, let's just a little bit on vegetables. Like I said, check in your area what vegetables are there. And there are different seasons for the vegetables that you can make use of. Right? So that, if you know the calendar. Just a second. Manu? Dipo iPad, young Shamara, I need to look something. Bring my iPad, please. Okay, so like, sorry about that. I to make a deal here. Yeah, get down. Okay, let me see if I can show you what I mean. To say, while we are talking of the veggies, right? And there are other things that you can make use of. Okay, so like veggies, we've spoken about that. And to say there are different seasons for different vegetables, right? So like if you've specialized to say, I supply vegetables, then make sure that you know the calendar of what vegetables are, where are they, when. And then you try and pick. You don't have to produce all vegetables. Pick those that work for you and experiment with that. Okay, so I was going to say, let me see if I can find it here. As I was looking at these calendars to say, if we are talking of this, how can we help each other? Okay, like especially for country like Zimbabwe, right? Suppose you want to say, all right, I want to produce baby corn. Like baby corn is not like an average vegetables that anybody will eat. But in those poshy shops, they will sell baby corn. And those who are specializing in baby corn, they can sell baby corn all year round. Because it's possible, like it can be produced all year round. Okay, so for those, like who are producing beans, depending on the way you are producing your beans can be sold all year round as well. And then if you are looking at butternut will be also a product that can be sold all year round, or that can be grown all year round. You look at things like cucumber for our salads. If you want to do cucumbers, you can have January to June, and then again from September to December. So that also will go well. You look at spinach, it's an all-year product as well. You look at tomatoes, especially the cherry ones, they're an all-year product as well. So use these calendars to kind of guide you to say, okay, what products can I do when? All right. For those who want to do like courgettes, right, that will be from January to September. So if you have this kind of a calendar, you know which plants can I play with. Those who want to do onions looks like they've got a short life. That's from May to July. and then again from October to December, which gives them a short lifespan, right? So if you know that calendar,
this, Mommy.
Sorry, oh, things are falling apart here. So if you know those calendars, you can use them to your advantage. All right. So just as a hint. All right. So like, okay, if we are talking of vegetables, there is this hint, this calendar that we can make use of. All right. Let's look at we leave vegetables for now, and we go to the next one. The next one will be fruits. If we are considering selling fruits, there are so many fruits, like really so many fruits. There are some fruits that are like really cultivated. Okay, I was talking to somebody from Kenya yesterday, right? I was hoping you would join us, but I will see. Like I said, the session is open to those who say, like, we know they are doing something. You remember, today we are dealing with successful people who are doing something on the ground. So those who are already online and would want to have a chat, please just give me a sign that you want to talk. Okay, so when we talk of fruits, so this guy is saying he's from Kenya. He's got such a big place where he's planting. He's selling. He produces apples. I'm like, so where do you sell your apples? They look really yummy. Like, normally he sells them locally and all that. But he's not only selling the fruit, the apples. He's also selling seedlings. Like, he produces the seeds, like from the apples, the seeds, the plants, and he sells that as well. So from that, he's making also big bucks, right? So when some of us think, like I have to start doing apples, we are selling apples, we are just thinking of the fruit itself. But there's also the fruit, and there's also selling the plants. You can start your own nursery and sell that and combine that, right? That would be another branch of your business. But that's when you're doing big things. But we are saying we have to start somewhere. Okay? What if we have already talking of fruits, there is also a calendar of saying, what fruits can you do? There is no right or wrong. You just have to look at what area are you in. And from that area where you are, then see what works. Like the seasons are different. The rain season, the seasons are different. The areas, the soil. You look at what product would work in your area, and then you specialize on that. Okay, so like suppose there's some plants that don't need too much water, but they need lots of rain, and they have little bit of water. Then they will strive. Like if I'll give you an example, I come from an area called Wange in Zimbabwe. There, in Wange, by the time around now, mangoes are already starting, right? Already, I don't know, they're starting to make flowers and all that. And then, but from December there, we drown in mangoes. It's mangoes everywhere, right? And by the time, like those sweet mangoes that you start eating there, and the juice will be going down, and you follow it like that with the tongue and with everything. Those are the kind of mangoes that we're talking about. But if you look at, so I say around from December, I think from November there, you are already starting to eat some mangoes. And by the time we get to April, in Wange, there are no more mangoes. They are gone, finished, right? But then now we have to buy mangoes from other areas. You see? So like if you are selling mangoes, then or if you are producing mangoes, you have that window from, I'm saying now from November area there, you start eating mangoes, start selling your mangoes. And so if you are doing that, okay, this time I have the mangoes myself. And then the other time you check what other fruit maybe, or the rest of the time you are using it to to cultivate, produce. I don't know whether mangoes can be in one area, mangoes can be harvested twice. I don't seem to remember that, but I only remember that I used to eat mangoes, around the end of the year until there's first school holidays. Then in Wange mangoes were gone. But because in Shurugwi, where my grandparents used to come from, mangoes were getting ripe then. Then we always used to have almost quite a long time eating mangoes. So, but like I said, it depends with where you are. To say, check out what fruit will thrive in the area that you are. When we talk of fruits, I've spoken of mangoes, I've spoken of guavas. We are looking at apricots, avocados. Yeah, in Zimbabwe, you have, I never used to eat avocados, but now, oh dear, there are avocados. We are talking of bananas. We are talking of all sorts of berries. Yeah, some are wild berries, they will just grow by themselves, and some you have to like really activate, produce them. Okay, according to this calendar that I was talking about, remember I was talking about their calendars. According to the calendar here, it says mangoes is from November to like end of March. Right. So, like that's why I say, like, depending with where you are, I know, like, definitely in Wange, mangoes, we had mangoes around the end of the year until like around April there. So I wasn't that bad, right? Okay. So you look at that and you make use of this to say, okay, if I'm looking at this particular fruit, when is the best time for me to produce it? When is the best time to maximize it? And then you maximize that. Okay, you look at pawpaws. You remember the pawpaws. Here in Europe, I don't buy pawpaws. One, they don't taste nice, most of them. And two, they are very expensive. It's exotic for sure. I see them and think, oh, pawpaws, but I don't buy pawpaws. Okay? And then looking at...
I need nothing for because your eye.
No. Wish. No, I'm using it. Thank you. Okay, so we are looking at products like sweet melons. Yeah? And then, like I said, it's good to know when is the planting season and when is the harvesting season. That way you maximize, and where you in your area you look at where do they grow and how do they grow and where can you sell them. So before we will talk about that as well. Okay, look at pineapples. The pineapples have got a season as well, according to the calendar that I have here for like Zimbabwe for the Zimbabwe agricultural calendar. Yeah, we are having like pineapples from September until April. So if you want to specialize with pineapples, you know when to start planting them. Okay, and then you've got strawberries, and those who eat strawberries, they will know strawberries have got a very short lifespan. So if you are going to look into doing like things like selling fruits like strawberries, you have to be like really geared. You have to really know what you're doing, because before you know it, you don't leave strawberries 2 days outside, they are gone. Right? You really, if you are going to sell them for a good price, looking them knacky fresh, then you have to be like really on the game. Okay? And then like these are just like, I just picked a few fruits. So it can be that, you're doing them on a small scale, or you are farming them in a big scale. And if you're going to be doing it at a big scale, you have to know where are you going to be selling them. And if you don't manage to sell them, what are you going to do with them? Yeah, so that applies together for what? For fruits and vegetables. Yeah, I will also look into that to say, okay, like now we are talking, I spoke of fruits, and there are nuts. I didn't talk of nuts. Like there are nuts like the macadonians. There are nuts like I remember some people still know the wild nuts. That some of them you just need to pick them up you don't need to plant them yourself. You go and pick them up in the bush. Yeah, pack them nicely, and you will enjoy, because they will bring you a nice box there. Okay, but it will be like you picking them up, preparing them, packaging them well. All right, so like there is also under fruits there we also look at nuts. Okay, there are some nuts here, like like when we see from other countries, like pistachio. I love them, but each time I think of buying them, I get cramps because they're expensive, but I love them. Right? So if you have them, you can sell them for a good price. Like I said, you always consider in your country what are the fruits that grow, right? And then you try and work on that. Like I said, remember, when I'm talking, I'm not only talking to Zimbabweans, I'm talking to anybody who cares to listen. But the thing is, I always also add to that to say, whenever you are listening, pick what works for you and then check what is available in your country and then find that loophole to say this is not available, and then maybe be the one to produce, to be the first one to bring that is not available. Yeah, and make it work for you. Okay. These are just guidelines where you pick what works. All right. To just say, like, let's think outside the box. Like outside the box, we would know that there are mangoes, there are guavas, and there are apples. And pineapples and avocados. Those are the fruits that we should have. Those are the fruits that we should say. Now I'm talking of, think of, there are nuts like macadonians. There are nuts like hazelnuts. There are nuts like, what else is there? Like I was talking of pistachian. Check if wherever you are, if your area you can grow olives. Of course, there are some countries that are already specialists in olives. But check it out if your country, if you can grow olives in your country. If they can grow, maybe you'll be the first one. And then now there will be, how do you call them? Olives from such a country, and everybody will be like, what? But you'll be the first one in your country to produce that. Okay, so that's that, or like that's a little bit on fruits. Okay, and then and then I spoke about berries. Yeah, berries go under fruits as well. There are all sorts of different berries. Some of them, like I said, they just grow naturally. Some of them you have to really take them from the wild into like there's a name for that. I'm not faced with the name for that. Like normal farming. I'll put it in quotes, say normal farming. You have taken a wild berry and you started, like, now you are actually cultivating it. If it works, and especially for exports, the crazier the fruit, the better. The exotic the fruit, the better. Right? There is a way of like exporting things, but you'll have to figure out in your country, how does that work? Okay? So that will be like I said, today it's just like, touching base to say what ideas are there. What can you do with the land that is there? Right? What products that, like, okay, there are, yes, the standards. When you say like Zimbabwe, I'll tell you, Zimbabwe produces cotton, we produce maize, we produce our wheat, we produce our sunflowers, we produce this. Those are the traditional ones. But there are other plants that we also can produce, or that are also being produced already. We produce flowers, right? So, it's all a matter of saying, okay, what niche do I want to specialize on? And then pick that and run with it. Okay. So on that, talking of plants and fruits, let's look at like herbs. Yes, you heard me right. Let's look at herbs. Interestingly, when we get poorly at home, we have to say, we have to run to the medical center to get the pharmacy to get these whatever concoctions to heal ourselves. Ha! Okay, it works sometimes. But you know what? Back to the roots is the thing. In here, I'll give you another. I don't when I'm talking, I normally use my own examples. I went home 2013. Yeah, and I found this big tree. Our yard in our home house in Zimbabwe there. When we grew up, there used to be so many big trees, and because of these big trees, we always had to sweep the yard, and I hated that with passion. But so when I went there was this new tree by the gate, like actually outside the gate. So when you're opening the gate, it has to stop on that tree. And I'm thinking, it's disturbing the site. I took my axe and I chopped that tree down. Daddy was not there, he was somewhere else. So by the time he came, the tree was down. I chopped it myself. You know what tree I chopped down? It was the moringa tree. My dad was mad. Like, how could you chop this tree down? You don't know that this tree is a medication, is the root medication to anything, any problem that you have. Be it your headaches, it's a tree that you can use the bark, you can use the roots, you can use the leaves. It's a tree that you don't cut down, girl. But too late, I had already chopped it down. But thank God I didn't pull out, like I was still to get somebody to come and help me uproot the trunk. But because I delayed finding somebody to come and uproot the tree, it managed to like reshoot. So the tree is there now again. Let's say a second generation of that tree is there again. Why I use this example? Today here in the UK, leaves of that moringa tree, they were just dried. Nothing else was done. No treatment, just dried and pegged in like this 200-gram packet. You're looking at 400 pounds, 4 pounds for just like 200 grams of those leaves. And I chopped the tree down. So why I'm saying this, it's we Africans have to start thinking, to say our herbals, they are not bad. Somewhere somebody taught us to say, this is bad, and we believe this is bad. You do herbals, you become a witch. You do herbals, you become this and that. Forget that one. It doesn't work. Of course, people who do what they do, they are there. I'm an African, so I can say that. But there is healing in medication, in these traditional leaves. When I was a small girl, or like growing up, if you had a tummy ache in the village there, both of my grannies, they used to like there was this weed that used to just grow in the yard. They knew it was little green plant, thin leaves, with little yellow leaves, little yellow flowers. They would just like pound it, put it in boiling water, and then put it in that, like, how do they call that syringe thing? Pump it up your bum. And they'll say, like, what, just relax. You won't need 20 minutes. And you were running, and within a few minutes, your tummy was clean. And you were running around, you forgot that you had a tummy ache. Or you had too much air in your tummy. But that was general knowledge. But, funny enough, some of us, we never really go to learn all those things. And unfortunately for myself, it's too late. My grannies are both dead. I don't have I don't have my grannies to be able to hear that. Okay. All right. So that will be that. To say, you know what? Look, if there is somebody that you can learn from at home, look. Okay. Craig, Sanganisa yenyu nerurimi rwamai. Yeah. I was thinking, was like, now it's a session where I have trying to reach all sorts of different people. That's why I was mostly concentrating on English, but I can try to mix, but let's see how it goes. Okay, so that will be that. To say, you know what, and like those who know, there's this tree called the mufura. From mufura tree, I think some do amarula. I think it's the same tree that they do amarula with. Yeah, and I remember when I was growing up again, from the back of that tree, if for those who had migraines or like headaches, they used to like scale a bit of that bark, put it in boiling water, or actually boiling it. It's bitter, that I'll tell you. It's really bitter. But you know what? It did the magic. There was no adding anything else that you don't know what you are eating or what you are drinking in that. But like I said, because we were taught that, and it has been like drilled in our heads that only medication from the shops that has been tested and is the medication that we have to take, and we leave out our own things. Yeah, well, it's a thing of saying take it or leave it. But why I'm pointing herbals, like I said, I've lived in the UK, I've lived in Germany, and I've traveled just a little bit. Herbal are big business at the moment, or not only at the moment. Let's say the last 10 years, herbals have become like really big business. You know, they actually have seminars to go and test and learn and see what new products are there. You know, you go to an exhibition where it's only herbals, just herbals, from all sorts of different countries, with labels. They've taken those traditional whatever that we as Africans have said, oh, we don't touch this, it's witchcraft. It has been repackaged and it's being sold. And you know the other thing, for those who are listening, who want another business to combine with these herbals, there is what they are now calling something like ecotourism, where they are creating, I've seen some of them, I've been to one center like that, where they are creating a center where they produce all sorts of different herbals that grow in different area. Say like, you know, the herbals that grow in your area, and you know the uses. No, I'm not saying take this idea and go and kill people. I'm saying if you know how herbals work, if you know, you really, I mean, like, you really have the knowledge, you have your piece of land, try growing all sorts of different herbals that grow in your area. Build up a hotel next to that, hostels next to that. You get people who want to come and do ecotourism. They work in your garden. They try out different herbals that are there, and you tell them what use they are, and you make money. I've seen it works. Yeah, it's called ecotourism, something. Actually, somebody at one point once asked me if I could help them do that, set up something like that. And they had the money. They wanted just an African country where they could go and do that. To say, like, you know, we know. Like I'm saying, Africa, we have those. We know which plants grow where. And for us, it will be like, no, it won't work. Yeah, try and see if you can combine that. All right, like I said, but you have to really know what herbals you have and what effects do they have, what do they heal, so that you don't mess up people. You know, people's lives is not something that we can experiment with. We can afford to experiment with. Okay, so there is a combination of herbals and the medical side and the tourism side of it. Okay, why I'm saying this, because especially here in Europe, people are tired of taking medication, and most people are believing like the pharmaceuticals are killing them more than they are healing them. So because of that, there is that thing to say like, no, we better go back to the roots. That's why you see this herbals thing is growing. And you know, when we talk of herbals, now when we are cooking in the kitchens, because of this international mixing that we are doing with people from all over. Okay, from people from all over. We now know that you can put rosemary in the chicken. We now know that you can put it's just, instead of just putting curry, you can also put, you know, all sorts of these different spices. Some of them are like spices. Some of them are the leaves part of them, like the basil and these bay leaves and all that. And you know, like I saw a whole new line of local spices in Cameroon. Yeah, and if you know them, make money with them. It's big business because of these international kitchens. And you know, like, even if you can, even better if you can even say like, you know what, you buy this spice, you use it this way. You're killing two birds with one stone. Yeah, you're selling your recipe, or you're showing people how to use your recipe with that particular spices that they don't know. Okay, so that will be that. And so that there is business in selling herbals and also selling, like, selling spices. That's like, I just combine them because normally they go together, herbals and spices. By the way, when we talk of herbals, you know, some people you still remember, like the peppermint. You know, peppermint used just to grow, like especially in Zimbabwe, would just grow it among the flowers, right? And it will just grow. When you need it, you just go and break up a few pieces, and that plant, if you want to buy it here, you know, it's not that cheap, but it's big business. It's part of those herbals, and those who have managed, they are getting, like, there are some shops that I know that are getting their herbals, their herbs from Kenya, and Kenya is doing very well with herbs. Every morning the flight lands with herbs from Kenya, and then they are delivered in the shops, and we go and buy them crazy amount. Whereas when we are in Kenya or they in Africa, we won't even think about looking at them like, what's this? But it's big money. So look at what works for you, and like I said, look at what is particular about your area, and then make use of that. Okay, so that's like a bit to herbals, fruits, and vegetables. Like I said, one thing about this group, it's because they spoil quickly or easily. Like you have to be able to sell them quickly, and you have to be able to package them nicely, because like the way you present them, the way it sells better for you. Okay, so consider, how are you packaging your product when you are selling it? How are you doing it? Okay, and then remember, today we are talking of there's too much plastics around, blah blah. We want to take care of the environment. So if you have clients who are eco environment friendly, they won't want to see plastic. So you might want to consider, how are you packaging, so that like it becomes convenient for you. Mostly plastic is cheaper, but it's not good for the environment. So for you to be able to capture both, you have to be able to think what works for you, so that or what alternative can you use, so that like you are selling your product at that price that you want, and your product is protected well, so that it doesn't spoil from the the environment, the environment. Okay, and then like I said, this group, it spoils quickly. What methods are you using? You can dry, like I said, dry the products. I talked of dried Tunisian tomatoes. You can smoke things. You can put salt in them and dry them nicely, and then package them. You can pound to powder and package them. Look what works for you, so that at the end of the day, or you can freeze, you can can them. But like I said, we are looking at small scale farmers, those who are really starting to say, okay, so canning will be like good, but you will need a lot of capital to do that. Right, whereas drying and putting salt and putting a bit of spices, it won't cost that much, right? So you think as well, like, what can I use, what will work for me? All right, so that's just a little bit on that. And then the other thing is what we should be careful about when we have harvested our plants, whatever plants that we have, or our product, we have to grade. Don't just say you have one tomato that is looking fleshy, nice, and you put it next to one tomato that is looking anyhow. Yes, it's organic, because organic things are not formed, they just grow as they grow, right? So they should be that, that authentic shapes, that they are organic, they didn't put whatever. Or even if you do put whatever, you still have to grade them. I say organic because that's what the catchy word these days, like, organic, I didn't put any chemicals. In some places, it's not possible to produce anything without doing that. But if you are putting whatever you are putting to create, to protect your crops or your plants, make sure it's good for human digestion. Okay, human consumption. Okay. What did I leave? Oh, so like to add value, your presentation of your product goes a big deal. We will talk about this like at a later stage, like if there is need to say pick one point, we pick one point and work on it. Today I'm just throwing everything in the pan to say these are the options. If you want to go into farming, go into farming. Don't hold back, right? There are things that you can do. That's why we have this session. Okay, good. That was like part of plans. Wait, I forgot one thing. There's this thing of like using the greenhouses. Yeah, using the greenhouses. Yes, it works. There are the special ones, special made ones, or you can create your own. Yeah, you have just to be careful. Like, go. I always say, go to, if you don't know how to do it, go and see. Look at those who are doing something. How are they doing it? And from there, you go and talk to them. Hi guys, may I have a look? You are doing this that I'm interested in. May I see? How are you doing? May you please show me how does it work here? And they'll show you. And then from there you go and, you do your own. All right. So like there is a thing of like doing mushrooms. There is this thing of doing, like, so if you have your greenhouse, that means you'll be able to produce some of these plants all year round, even though, according to the seasons, the natural seasons, you shouldn't be able to do that. So if you consider building your own house in your backyard, that is if you have space. If you don't have space, see if you can rent ground and then build up structures with the simplest materials that you can get and just get started somehow. Okay, and then as you grow, as you start making like cells, you will upgrade, but you have to start somewhere. Okay, so that will be that. So like the easiest with the greenhouse. The greenhouse will allow you to produce other produces. I saw somebody who like we just build like a big shed, put the plastics on top, like like those durable plastics on top, like to cover up. And like just like like a dome thing, a dome structure with this with this transparent this I think it's poly something cover, right? And they just put inside, they were planting spinach. You know what they did after putting those big structures? They just put rows of pipes, like the norm, like those pipes that we used for water. They took those pipes and they put holes on them, different like real long pipes, right? And they put build them into a structure with like about 10 rows, almost like in a slanty shape going up, 10 rows. And in those 10 rows, they put holes on those pipes, like long pipe, the little holes, put some soil in there, and you know what? They were growing their spinach there. Big time, big leaves, fresh, like when you think like, oh, can I have some? Yeah. So, like I said, like we have to think outside the box to say with the confined space, if I have a confined space, how can I use it? That's why I said, like, let's think outside the box and not just wait to say, like, you know what, this is the thing. Talking of water, I've seen also somewhere where like this one was a field. I think it was somewhere in Kenya where they were doing this. They're like in a tomato field, because like they said the area they had issues with water, so they can't afford to just spray water left, right, and center. So what they did is they've got the tomato plants, like they're now grown like maybe this high, and they've got like a little stick where they're tying their tomato to make it stand upright, and on that stick that is holding on the tomato, like maybe about 60-70 centimeters of a stick, right? And then on one side they have the tomato tied up so that it stretches up. On the other side they've got like a plastic, like these water bottles, the water bottles that we normally have, right? They put next to the tomato like a little water bottle, cut up the top, upside down, and they put they pour water on it, and that water what they pour on that plant. Yeah, so that water they are pouring onto the tomato, it's going straight to hit the roots. It's not going elsewhere. Of course, it's a lot of work, because like I said, when I saw it was a field like that, where they were using that. It looks primitive, but it's working for them. And their tomatoes were quite big, because they are not wasting water everywhere, and the water is going where it's needed. And I also saw something similar as well, where they are using it to water trees, where you have a pipe that is going around. As the pipe is going around, only on places where there is a tree that they need to water, and that pipe had a little hole to let water to the tree. So that way, I don't know whatever name they give to that, there are names for that. Like, I'm not an agricultural specialist. I just tell you what I've seen and what I know works, or what I think works as well. I know I've seen it somewhere, and it was being like done like really professionally. And in that case, especially the ones with the pie water, with the trees and with the trees, it's specifically, water was dropping where it's needed. And it's a desert area that has become alive because somebody thought and knew what they were doing, and it works. All right, so that will be that. Like, okay, let's leave this branch a bit. Let's go into another branch. Yeah. No, now we will be talking about like animals. Like I said, animals. Farming is huge. Okay, there are the cows, the goats, the sheep, the pigs, the rabbits, the squirrels, and squirrels. No, we don't need squirrels. Yeah. Okay, so when we talk of cows and in fact all these that I've mentioned, these are like we are talking of meat, or we are talking of the dairy aspect, right? Like some cows, when I was growing up, we used to be told a cow, in fact for Zimbabwe, a cow is still one of the most valuable animal that we can have, because we used to say, like, I don't know if people still remember the poem that a cow, like, it's an animal that you can use everything on it. You can't throw away anything. Yeah, from the horns where you can use your when you can make buttons, where you can use, and to the hoofs that you can use, you can make glue. Yeah, and from the skins you can make shoes and bags and belts. From the meat you can chew. So like, and you can sell the cow. It's got all sorts of uses, right? So you have like the cows, same applies. You have the goats, you can use that for the goats. You have the dairy. From the milk you do something else. Same applies to the sheep. And with goats, especially for Zimbabwe, goats has become a big thing, right? Goats are being sold outside the country. It's become like one of the export tip for those who don't know. Goats are easy to keep, or let's say goats and sheep, they're easy to keep. Yeah, especially Zim goats and Zim sheep are going to the Arabic world. Yeah, because they don't eat pigs, so that's their alternative. It's big business. And like we say, like meat from Africa, it hasn't been injected with all sorts of things, so they tend to say like it's good quality. Yeah, so if you want, try something, buy 2 goats now and watch and see what happens. Take care of them, see that they feed nicely. Within a short time your goats will reproduce. Yeah, of course, those who are doing it like properly, they will have to say which generation was what. There is a proper way of doing it, where you are doing the generations and noting which one did what with which one was reproduced, lineages. There are people who are doing that, right? Or you just buy your goats and you just feed them properly and you let them multiply, and then you start selling them. It's good money. Okay, so talking of goats, like we've got like goats, we've got sheep and pigs. Same applies to rabbits and like pigs as well. They are good bucks, good fast bucks, because they don't need much. You need a simple place where you can keep your pigs. At one time, like I said, when I was in Zimbabwe 2013, I was my mom's piggy lady. I was taking care of my mom's pigs. They used to have pigs. You know what they did? My mom and their sister, they live in this town, and they decide like, in town normally because pig stinks and all that, you can't have your pigs in the city, but let's get somebody in the village who will take care of the pigs, right, for them, and they'll be paying that person. So the person they got, unfortunately, all them pigs, they were multiplying like really big time. But they always had an issue that the pigs were dying, right? Don't ask me how, but the pigs were dying. They just had like all these funny diseases and all these accidents. So the pigs were dying like crazy. So at one point they said, you know what? Enough is enough. We have this stand at the industrial there. Let's get our pigs and do it ourselves. They got their pigs. Like I said, it was outside the city, outside the residential area, like in the industrial. They got some boys from the city, and like let's say township where they lived. Say, guys, can you go and chop some poles for us? They got the poles chopped for them, right? After they got the poles chopped for them, like from the bush, here will be crying environmental damage. Okay, that's what they did. They went and they chopped like some poles. They just made simple pens. Where you just put like one pole like that, you put another one close by, you put another one close by, and you put another one close by, dig them in nicely, and then like put a little shed on top. Yeah, and they were around like around some 2 trees. Yeah, and they put like simple pen, and it wasn't even like slab. It didn't even have a slab, and they got their pigs in there. And you know what? They were feeding them. Pigs normally eat anything, right? From your green leaves, from your food rests, from your maseses. For those who stay near Chibuku, you can feed your pigs with masese. You can, if you have the money, you can buy them concentrated food. Pigs are easy to keep. They eat anything. And you know what? They multiplied like crazy. Like really crazy. We only had to make sure they ate nicely because they were not going anywhere. Yeah, they had to eat. They eat. Pigs eat. And they eat and they grow. So, there we have 2 ladies who were saying like, oh, can somebody take care of their pigs? Within a short time, they had over 70 pigs. And they sold them. Some they sold them in as a whole. Some like a live beast, and some of them they had to get them. Like some people wanted the pig slaughtered, so they got somebody else to come and slaughter the pig for them. So the person who came and slaughtered got employment for that day and got cash and got some of the rest of the meat to go and eat like the insides and all that, or even what I'm talking about. So from let somebody do it for us to let's just do it. If it doesn't work, we will leave. At one time, they had to stop. At least my mom and my and their sister, they ended up stopping because the pigs kept on multiplying and multiplying and multiplying until they said, you know what? It's too much work for us. We are tired of hard work, and they stopped. But not because they weren't doing well. They were really doing well, right? They're like, no. It was good, we tried and we see that it works. So there is that thing to say, start simple. Yeah, if you don't have like these poshy sheds, yeah, start simple. When you start selling your beasts, and then you upgrade and build a nice, beautiful shed for your beasts, right? I'm not saying abuse your beasts. Make it in such a way that it will be comfortable for them as well, because you want to gain from them. Right, you don't want your beasts, like to get diseases and all that. You need to take care of them. But like I said, I'm telling you something simple that I saw, and that I actually was part of it one time or the other, or I did help. I was the assistant. I would go and give them water in the morning, give them water in the afternoon, make sure in the evening they have water and they have food as well. As I go to check for water, I would make sure they have food as well and make sure they are dry. Yeah. At one time, because like there was loads of water, we had to go and rescue them in the night because the pens were flooding. Yeah, it was an experience of a lifetime. But well, I can say I experienced that. It works. It's a matter of wanting it and upgrading as we go. Okay, so that will be like on the basic, like the 4 legs. There are chickens, there are turkeys, there are ducks, there are quills, they are guinea fowls, they are what other birds are there? All these wild birds. There's the African hard chicken. Yeah, sell eggs, sell meat. You only need to get started with a small pan and then expand as you go. Yeah, you sell meat, it's easy business. Like you sell meat, if you get your chickens to sell, like especially the broilers. After, I think from 6-7 weeks, you can already start selling them, right? And then by 8 weeks, normally you should have sold them, because now after 8 weeks, they are no longer growing for the sake of they need to grow. They are just feeding, right? But whereas if you do eggs, like you sell first, they will be like the chickens will do eggs. When they get tired, when they are no longer producing, producing eggs. Then you sell them. So you've gained both ways. Okay? But it's a matter of saying you are supposed to pick up the eggs, clean them up, deliver them where they're supposed to be delivered, or make sure people come and buy them so that you don't keep them too long. All right, to keep them fresh and nice. Okay, so that would be a little bit on the beds or poultry. Yeah, like these are just a few examples. And most of these, they don't need much to get started with. Okay? They don't need much to get started with. We had a session where we spoke about starting businesses. So if you are wondering where you can get money to start business, this kind of business that we're talking about, maybe go back on that session. I can't remember what chapter it was, but now we are on chapter 36, but it was one of those where we spoke about starting businesses, how you can fund yourself, all right? So we can go back to that one, okay? So another big business that is coming, that hasn't been like, for some people are already doing that, okay? There is fish farming. Yeah, there is fish farming that has become like really big success. To say, see in your area how you can, what is available on fish farming. Yeah, especially the tilapias and them different, I know they're different, let me say there are different types of fish that can be easily grown in these fish farms. Okay, but you have to check your resources and check what can you do, because you don't want to overcrowd them and not do a good job. So there is fish farming, and there is also a combination that is going on, like especially I've seen it here in the UK. There is at a smaller scale, right? And I've seen some people who are really doing it in their greenhouses, or where you have at the bottom the tanks where the fish live, and on top they've put like vegetable trays. It can be like the spinach, the lettuce, the salads, or it can be even like the cucumbers, those that can be suspended on the air. So you actually have two products. On one side you have the fish, and on the other side, on top of the tanks, like the plants are suspended on the top of the tanks. And big business, big money's combination of that. Consider that, look into it, okay? And there is insect farming as well. On insect farming, I'm thinking of bees. Yeah, bees, you heard me right, with honey. You know, when I was doing one of my rounds, trying to do some other business, I spoke to somebody. He says, my sister, I don't know what you are doing here in Europe. You know that some people back home, they are doing money. I said, really? Like, you know them bees. A bee farming is the thing. I said, how do you mean? You know, I know bees go bzzz, sting, and you are gone. But the honey is delicious. He said, you know what? They are about bees farming. You are selling two products, actually. The honey itself is the honey itself. Yeah, it's okay. It's just a little bit. But that house, you know, like that beewax, that house of the bees is money on its own. And I looked it up. I found out there are 21 uses. 21 uses that are what you can do with that beeswax. From making soap, from making candles, from making like our hair jellies, our waxy hair thing, from making, some of the even tablets, like those tablets, you've seen those tablets with a plastic thing coating on them. It's beeswax, treated beeswax. Don't ask me how they do it, but some of it, let me say some of it is used they use that beeswax to create that. So imagine if you get your hands into that business and you find somebody who buy that wax from you, how much will you make? And with the bees, you have to make sure that they find the flowers themselves. It's even better if you plant the good flowers, so that they don't have to go journeys, that they have the nectar nearby. So you have your flowers that you can produce your plants that you can produce, that will produce flowers for your bees, right? And you have scattered in your yard boxes, beehives, right? And the bees do the job. And what you do, you have to go and harvest. Yes, you can put on that armor thing. There is a proper way of doing it. I know in Zimbabwe there are people who are teaching bee farming. Give it a try. Yes, they will stink you at the beginning, but you get used to how to handle them. And besides, you also eat the honey. That's sweet money. Somebody was saying bee farming is sweet money. So consider that. Okay. There is another one. Maggot farming I had. It's also also a cash cow, but it's not for faint hearts because it stinks. They use the maggots to make animal feed. Yeah, so that means if you are gonna get into this, know that your place will stink like miles and miles and miles away. Okay, but from those who are doing it, they're saying it's big business. All right, so yeah, consider that. And from what I hear, going back to bees farming, according to 2016 Beekeepers Association of Zimbabwe, there were 50,000 registered beekeepers. Yeah, I know my grandparents used to keep bees, but like at a smaller scale, just for us to eat. Yeah, so it's doable. But now we are talking of commercializing it, right? Not just like that one was for us to eat, right? But commercialize it, make money. We are remember our topic, we say, you know what? We want to make money so that we can free ourselves, so that we can become independent, so that, we don't have to wait for somebody to employ us, right? What did I leave? Okay. I think I've just touched really all sorts of different levels here, different products. Yeah, okay, so like we said, just to sum it up, to say it doesn't matter whether the land is yours. If it's not yours, make sure you get, I'm just summarizing now, make sure you get the permission to use that land. If you have land idle somewhere, see if you cannot start just one product. Just try. You've got nothing to lose. At the end of the day, if you don't sell it, you can eat it yourself. At least you've gained something, some nutrients. Okay, so see if you can get your hands on a piece of land. It doesn't matter where. Check what products are there that grow in your area. So checking on products that grow in your area, it's also the same for cows and for animals. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So it's also the same for whether the animals, it's animal husbandry or it's plants. To say if you live in real dry area, there's no point of you trying really hard to do agriculture, to do planting things, because it won't work. Water will kill you. All right. So then if water is not working, then do if you've got water problems, then see if you maybe keeping animals will be better. Yeah, that's why I'm saying it brings us back to that point to say, look into your neighborhood, look into what can grow in your neighborhood, and then pick that project and run with it. In terms of I once said, I'll bring us back again, just a quick one on talking of funding. Right. Suppose there is really people, people with the same idea. People can group each other. And if you discover that, you want to do the same thing. Let's say you talk about, okay, we need to start a goat project, right, in our area, because we know plants are not gonna grow. Okay, let's say you've managed to fundraise, and you buy maybe let's say 6 goats. You buy more she's than you buy you need a back in the she ones. Same applies if you're doing this with pigs. Same applies if you're doing the same thing with rabbits, right? Make sure you can group each other, and then once you group each other, you say, okay, we give these pigs to one person who will take care of them, and the rest can help. All right, maybe if you are going to give, say like, okay, one person is the first crawl, people can go and help that one person build the first crawl. You buy your pigs, you put them in the same place so that they multiply quickly. Once they start multiplying, in the meantime, while these pigs are growing, the community or those who have come together, you go and build the next pig pen on the next for the next pigsty for the same next person. You build another one, you build another one, build another one. If there are 5 families involved, by the time these first pigs produce, you have already 5 pigsties already waiting. So what will stop you people from taking from the first pigs? Get some, give the next family. Get some, give the next family. Get some, give the next family. Whilst you are selling. So like by giving each family a starting capital, you are taking, you put money to buy the first pigs. The first pigs produce, you take some, you give the next one. Like a capsule that they can also get started. When these pigs start producing, you take from there, you give the next one. Yeah, so like if you have 5 families and you already have two families that are already with pigs that are reproducing, and then from each they give the next ones, the next 2, and you continue like that. Before you know it, you have 5 families who have pigs in the community, right? And because you are sharing the knowledge, you are actually empowering each other, right? What will stop you people from this being a community to say now we have like 50 pigs in our sties combined? What will stop you from going to the big guys, big butcheries, and getting a contract to say we have 50 pigs combined and we want to sell our pigs to you, and then let's work out something? And then among yourself, you are not competitors, but you are working together. You start working together as a team, as a community, feeding, supplying that supplier. If that supplier is satisfied and your pigs are continue to multiplying, you do the same. You go and find another buyer, so supply another buyer, and you do the same again. By this time, like I said, pigs, sheep, goats, they expand quickly. And they multiply quickly, not expand, they multiply quickly. And you do the same. And that way, nobody remains behind. At least you work with those who have like minds. But you're still considering everything else that we've talked about. And it can still be the same thing again. To say, okay, if you have vegetables and fruit, to say, you know what? Why don't we combine? And you grade you grade your products, and you sell them under one name. If you need like a ton of something, and then together combined, one person maybe might not be able to produce that ton, but if you combine your efforts and you share your profits according to how much you have put, it's like I said, it's just let's think together. Let's see what we can do with land. We Africans, what can we do with land? Yeah, so like I said, this is just one of those of my thinking loud sessions where we say, I was hoping today that other people will come in, but unfortunately they didn't. But I hope I was able to shed some light, right? I know I didn't bring any figures because it wasn't supposed to be a figures thing. It was more about getting to see what is possible, what options are there. And then it becomes your homework now to say, if you really want to do any of this, then go and sit down now and look closely. What is happening in your country? What is happening in your community? What is there? And then, then you look into it. So, okay, so that will be part of farming, just to make a simple thing, a simple note. When we talk of agriculture, remember, we are talking of the farming itself. We are talking of the food processing. We are talking of we're talking of the servicing of the tools and producing of the guide equipment. We are talking of producing seeds. Like I gave you an example of somebody who's selling seeds. So we are talking of producing seeds as well. We are talking of producing the product, either you're selling a proper cow or you're selling milk. So if you are going to do into dairy production, right, you have like the milk, you have the cheese, you've got the quacks, so like there is a lot of what can be done. There is these days that even the oils, those from Zimbabwe, you might remember this. How many of you remember the baobab tree, the baobab fruits? We used to eat those and we would spit the seeds. And when those plants, because they germinate easily, they start somewhere and we throw away. You know how much such a little bottle like this big of baobab oil, how expensive that is. This little thing like this. In some places, you don't get that little thing, not less than 5 euros, not less than 10 euros, depending with 10 euros or 10 pounds, depending on the way you are buying it from. This little thing, I'm talking of less than maybe 5 milli, I don't know, 10 milliliters. This thing, it's damn expensive. Yeah, but we grew up saying baobab trees, those black seeds, it's a gem. But you know what? In Wange, where I grew up, baobab tree, like when we who lived in towns, when we wanted the baobabs, we just went to the bus station. There were people selling them all on the streets. And people from the villages where those trees grow like grass or like weeds, they used to just say, you know what you want, come and get as much as you want, right? And somebody had to come from Europe to come and tell the African Zimbabwean there to say, you people, you are sitting on money. Instead of you throwing away them baobab trees, them baobab fruit, and say you just come and get. No, don't do that. Now you find that in most villages, those trees are numbered. One, those fruits are collected. One, they are like, is it that, like that flesh, when it dries, it sticks on the seed, right? They've found a way of like removing the seed, the powder from the seed. That powder is being sold for big money. Yeah. And those seeds that remain, they are pressed into oil. It's called pure baobab oil. If you want to Google it now, you will see what I'm talking about. Yet we needed somebody to come from Europe to come and tell us that we are sitting on man. Yeah. Now try and go and say, can I have a baobab tree? In some places, they will tell you your brains are not working. You know what? Sometimes we see things and we don't utilize it. Like I always say, when I talk, I try and use as basic examples as possible. Right. When I was growing up, I had an uncle who used to work in one of the universities there in the agriculture department. Because my grandparents used to farm like really big time. Yeah, I'm one of those people who has an orchard that nobody's taking care of. Talking of not utilizing resources. As I'm sitting here, I just got like some people to check it out for me or for my family to see if we can revive that. When we were growing up, in our area, people knew that if you needed apples, oranges, mangoes, avocados, you go to my grandparents. They always had a supply. And look at me now. So many years later, nobody's taking care of those orchards. There are 31 trees. I'm telling of these types of fruits that I'm talking about. Lying idle there. Talking of, you see what I'm talking about? So I know what I'm talking about. Excuse me that sometimes I get lost. Okay, good. So that's that one. So I was telling you about this sunflower business. So my uncle bought, I have to ask him again where he got that machine from. He got this simple machine. It almost looked like a plow. Yeah. So what you used to do is you pour this, we plowed our sunflowers, we dried them, and with those sticks, like, whoop, 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 yeah, to loosen up the seeds from the head of the sunflower, right? And then we would separate them. And then when we separate them, we took those seeds and we poured them in this little machine Like I said, it looked like a plow, if I remember well. It had a place where you would pour the seeds, and then you would take that the lever, push down. So as you're pushing down, the oils was, like the pure oil was squeezed all out of those leaves. Yeah. And as you're doing that, it had like a little bag. I'm thinking from my head. It had a little bag on the end that would serve, all these are the impurities that is coming out of this oil. By the time it lands in the collecting container, you had pure sunflower oil. Don't ask me where that machine went to, because I don't know. Don't ask me who's doing that now. Nobody. My grandparents are both dead, and their field is also lying idle. Yeah, talking of Africans and idle land. Okay, I'm sorry to say that, but that's why I was saying, like, you know what? And you look at, we are all talking, we need farms. We have to go and get farms from where? Have we utilized the land that we already have? Have we used that bit that we already have? Okay, fine. Farming is difficult. I say to myself when I was growing up, I've farmed so much and I hate it with passion because it was a hard job. Back aching, back breaking job. We have our engineers. We have our developers. Why can they not produce them gadgets that will make life easier for us so that we can enjoy gardening? Yeah. And if you are going to produce something, forget this thing that you'll be loitering around and making other people work. People will work according to what you're doing. You the lead. Yeah. Put your hands on the ground, work with them. You'll be surprised how much your subordinates or people that you are working with will work. We are sitting here, some of us here in Europe where we are. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with coming to Europe. I've enjoyed it and I'm still doing. I've been here for a while. But for those who can, those who think about it, what is it that we have here that you cannot? I'm preparing my own. When I'm ready, you will see me landing. And those at home who are stuck in towns where there is no future, where you are mourning every day, consider if you yourself, your family has got no land, check your neighbors. Like I said, in my area where I come from, there are so many people who have left. And there's so much idle land there. Yeah. And there are some who are getting the new farms, who are selling them as well. See if you cannot negotiate somehow and get your hands on that land and go and make yourself something that you can call your own. Yes, white collar jobs are good. I have my degrees as well. Yeah, so I'm not trying to say, forget white collar jobs. No. I have my profession or my professions. Right. But given a choice today, I would go into farming. That's where money is, in the soil. Why don't we sit down and think, my dear Africans, and say, why is everybody scrambling for the land and we are running away from it if it wasn't worth it? Why? Did we ever stop to think? Why did they pick that beautiful land and send us to the mountains, to the rocky places where not even a cow can survive? If land, there was no money in the soil. That's why my title is called There is Money in the Soil. I'm not talking of minerals. Yes, minerals are there, but I'm talking of agriculture. Produce what you can. Make sure you create good quality. You can sell it anyway. Package it nicely. And you will sell it anyway. It needs your hard work. It needs your focus. It needs you thinking in advance. What do you want to do? All right. Like I said, I talk about you. When I'm talking to you guys, I talk about myself as well. To say, where are we going? What are we doing with our lives? Are we living that life that we want? Or are we just managing? If we are just managing, what can we do to change it? Because it's only us who can change that life that we are in. So like I said, we are here to share ideas. We are here to just, give each other food for thought. We are just here like, to poke each other just a little bit to next, like, come on. Have you thought about this? And then the real thinking, it starts with you. It starts with me to say, okay. I know sometimes we hear some of these things that we get really angry. It's like, how dare they say this to us? How dare they do this to us? How dare they take this from us? But they are taking it because sometimes we are not there to take possession. We need to take possession ourselves. Most of us are busy sitting there complaining. This is not happening. This is not happening. They are not doing this. They are not doing that. The question is, what are we doing ourselves? How are we helping ourselves? Of course, I know that, sometimes you try and the system comes and mess it up for you. Then you have a real reason to complain and a real reason to shout that things are not going right. But if you are sitting and doing nothing and just complaining, then keep quiet. Sorry, my language. If you are sitting and you are the one of those who just talk, one of those who are just waiting for somebody to come and give you something, please keep quiet. Because, there is so much we can all do for ourselves. There is so much, because at the end of the day, we don't have to be competitors. We can, we sometimes people don't grow because we as human beings, we don't grow because we are busy being competitors. How about if we turn our energy into resources and help each other? Like I said, we say, okay, we team up. What do we want to do? We help each other. Of course, there are some people who you have to know who exactly are you taking on board, because there are some people, when things are going smoothly, they will run away with the big pot. The greedy ones will run away with the pot. Yeah. But choose among you, choose people who you can work with. People who want to build like you. People who say, you know what, this position that I am in is stinking. I don't like this position. I want to move on. But okay, I only have a little bit of capital. But maybe I can use it for myself and move on. But if your capital is too little, where you're thinking like it's not possible, maybe that's what I'm saying, like maybe you could think of joining up with others who have like minds. If it means writing contracts down, write those contracts down. Even if it's handwritten, to say this is what we are agreeing on. So that when the pigs start multiplying and you say, hey, now it's my turn for me to get 2 pigs. And somebody saying, hey, why should I give you 2 pigs? I have to sell them. To say, but you know what? We agreed that we will help you build your own pigsty. And then tomorrow you will help me go and find the poles to do my pigsty. All of a sudden you are busy. No, but then if you agree on that and you really know each other, then normally it should work without a problem. But like I said, people change. So we have to be careful with that. All right, so I think I've summarized it all. Yeah, let me just check on the comments that I have for today. Shelly. So once again, hello everybody. If I didn't say the names, it's not like I'm ignoring you. I'll be seeing you, but so that I don't lose track of what I'll be saying, that's why I normally just continue, and then at the end I'll check like what comments do I have, and then I also read them out, or like answer what I can answer straight away, what I can not answer straight away, and then I'll have to send. So I'll have to send answer later. Okay, so Shelly says they are true sister. Oh dear, I don't know what I was talking about then. And Shelly, I know when you say this, you are remembering the baobab fruits. Oh, thank you, sister. You are really opening my mind. I am in German thinking of going home and start something. No place like home. Oh dear. Thank you so much. Yes, there is no place like home. It's a home is what we make. That will be my closing words for today. To say home is what we make of it. You know, you can have a palace. If you don't create it to a home, it will just be another building. So if you have your little field and you want to make it a business, it will turn into that, because that's what you are putting into. It's what you are putting into what you normally harvest, depending, like with all other things that we've kind of spoken about are being taken into consideration. Yeah. Okay, so like I said, once again, sorry about the raffle. We're supposed to do the raffle now, right? But we didn't sell so many tickets. Unfortunately, it's really not even worth doing a draw, right? But we have postponed the draw to the next month. I'm hoping by then we will have managed to sell like a little bit, at least to get started, right? That we have like something in the pocket, and then we can get started, and then we'll just take it from there, either on a monthly basis. And yeah, maybe by then we will have already decided specifically among our many projects what exactly, right? Because there are so many projects that we're looking at. We're still to think, depending on what we had, what we were going to give that festy reward, right? But by then, I think by the end of next month, we will have come up with a concrete project that we can give. So like, okay, of our many projects, the winning project this time will be either the school fees or the shoes or this or that. Okay, but I'll be keeping you informed on that. So please do buy the raffle tickets. It's $5. You can say I said $5 to make it easier, because we are all over everywhere. But you can make also £5 if you want. You can also make €5, 5 of your currency where you are, but not yeah. Let's say we're talking the euros, the pounds, and the US dollar. If it's five of that will be all right. Okay. Yeah, so that was it from me. I'm Life Coach Vimbai Chiwuswa. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. Stay blessed. Yeah, I will try. Yes, there was a request if I could do the session in Shona on Ndebele. I will try and repeat the session at a different date. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Cheers, have a blessed weekend.